Yes, people. Welcome to another edition of the ManDem United podcast on Sarcasm City TV, brought to you by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note. Let me know in the comments if the fan is a little bit loud in it, because it's hot over here in the UK in it. So it's like, that's why I got the fan on. If it is too loud, I will, you get me, turn it off. So please let me know in the comments. But like I start each and every show on the channel, love to everybody who is supporting Sarcasm City TV in whatever capacity. It's much appreciated. Please make sure you go check out the 3K subscriber party, because it was mad. We had all the hosts drop in, all the affiliates dropped in. That's why it went on for 4 hours. It was crazy. I was waved. Look, man, almost pretty much boxed a whole bottle of JD that night in it. Man was mash up. Great stuff in it. So love to everyone who is supporting Sarcasm City TV in whatever capacity. Is road to 4K as well. But whether you're watching this live right now or you're watching this back, please make sure you hit the like button on the video. Make sure you share it across all the socials as well. Vitally important you do that. Click that share button. All them social media apps pop up. Anything you're active on, make sure you share it. Or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at That's Me Flawless. And that way you can just retweet and like and share from my Twitter and my Instagram. Make sure you follow Sarcasm City TV across all the socials as well. And equally as important, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And make sure when you subscribe, you hit the notification bell, because we go live every day on the channel and you do not want to miss anything that is going on in it. So much content on this channel every day. And if you're already subbed, make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you have the notification bell switched on, road to 4K. But yeah, if you haven't seen the ManDem United podcast before, it is a podcast dedicated to all things Manchester United. And I'm not joined by my fellow co-host Harris today in it, but Harris will be back on Thursday. But salute to my don, the young OG Harris. But yo, obviously, I've been bringing you great special guests, you get me, all throughout the summer, innit? Like, I've been delivering, innit? More than Manchester United board, I've been delivering when it comes to ManDem United, innit? Look at the guests that we be getting on a weekly basis, innit? And this time, we've gone international. You know what I'm saying? We've got international. So the first special guest I'm going to introduce is my guy, innit? All the way in Niagara, innit? He's not only a member of the channel, he's a Manchester United fan. His football knowledge is great. His basketball knowledge is great. And he's got his own channel as well, and he's building his own brand. Man like Jay Socials is in the building. What are you telling me, Jay? You good?
Hey, what's going on? I'm doing good. I'm happy to be on. And yeah, everything's good. And congratulations on your 3K party. Sorry I missed it, but it definitely looked like it was a lot of fun and an all-star cast as well. So big ups.
Yeah, man, big up. And this is your debut on this show. Obviously, you've been on the channel before, on the Q&As, you've been on Basketball Watch and all, but I believe this is your first appearance on ManDem United, isn't it? So welcome, man. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have you on. And the second special, I said it was international, the second special guest that got introduced is another guy who's been on the channel before, but making his debut also on ManDem United, all the way in the DMV. And obviously, you know, the football knowledge is 10-10, that's why he's here, but his hosting skills are also 10-10. Like, when it comes to mediating and doing that type of thing and holding down shows and asking questions and things of that nature, he's also exceptional at that. So I gotta welcome Temmie Talks United to the show also. What are you telling me, Temmie? You good?
What's good, Brody? What's good, Brody? Can't complain. Congrats on 3K, my G. You know what I'm saying? That's a big step. You know what I'm saying? Excited to talk United with you. I don't think we've done this in a while, so
no,
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, haven't done that. So as you lot can see from the title, and obviously make sure you get your Manchester United questions in, people, in the comments. The United hierarchy making moves to compete. Well, I put a question mark on it because that's what we're going to discuss. The United hierarchy making moves to compete, because I've given my opinion on it many a times. Anyone knows, and I will do on this show as well. But obviously, we want different opinions. So we'll start with you, Temmie. What's your thoughts on the way the United hierarchy, our board, is currently moving? We got Sancho in, which should be announced at some point soon. I don't know when, but it should be linked with Varane. Also, there's talks of Camavinga. So we're being linked with quality players in positions we need. So what's your thoughts on how our board is currently moving during the summer window?
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. You know what I'm saying? We got the Sancho deal done, which is a really big thing. That we can't underestimate how big of a signing that is. We finally have a right winger. After all these years, extremely important. But that being said, I know how we've operated in the past. We've been dangerously close to being linked with people in the past, and it doesn't go through. Bruno Fernandes being one. I'll never forget that transfer saga. You know what I'm saying? So it looks like we're making the right moves. It looks like we're being aggressive, but I have to see it come to fruition before I sit here and start saying, oh yeah, we're making moves to compete. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things we need in that squad. that if it's 3 signings, it's good, but can we compete with City? Can we compete with Chelsea? We have to wait and see. We have to wait and see.
Yeah, 100%. And same question to you. And like you said there, the way you said you're cautiously optimistic, I would even say I'm cautiously optimistic. I would just say I'm cautious, but I'll get into why I'm just cautious. I'm not even optimistic with it. I'm just cautious, but I get fully where you are coming from. As soon as you said that, I'm like, you're on the same wavelength as me, because that's how I feel on it. But same question to you, Jay. Like, how are you looking at the way the United board are currently moving? Obviously, Sancho's through the door. We're linked with Varane. We're linked with Camavinga. We're linked with quality players in positions we need. So how are you looking at it, like, just off this summer alone?
Yeah, well, like there hasn't been too much, right? Just because of the Euros, and now we're officially back with obviously club football. And that's the thing. It's like I want to be optimistic. I'm definitely looking forward to the new season and the new players that we have, and seeing the Manchester United players that have performed on the big stage, which is the Euros. It's a positive vibe, right? In terms of the transfers, like Sancho was great. I'm happy for Sancho, even though it's well overdone. Other than that, like I just feel the Varane deal, I'm not putting too much into that. Am I excited about Varane? I don't know. I think he's a quality player, a quality defender, but I'm still kind of, I don't know. I still have reservations of him, especially coming to England and playing next to Maguire. There's a lot of question marks there. And then we talk about CDMs. There's still no links with a CDM, which I think we need. But I'm sure we'll get on the show to talk more about how Ole might use his team differently than he did last year. But other than that, I think good so far. The only thing I'm worried about, I feel like we have way too many players on the roster that we need to start thinking about players that need to leave as well. So if we can get that sorted, then
we're gonna get into that. That's a great point. We are definitely, remind me, even if it's later on in the show, to go into that, like who we should get off, because for all the players that we are linked with, well, the players we want to come in, we do have players that need to go. There is players 100% that do need to go. Let me run through the comments as well. Lajab Abdallah, who was here before, and he says, people, make sure you pepper the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's get our Duns Flawless and Harris up to 70 likes for the stream. I beg, yeah, please make sure you do that. He also says, road to 4K pending. Come on, Flawless, trust you'll be on 30K by this time next year. No cap. Let's hope so. That is the aim. You know what I'm saying? In that we are here reaching for the stars. United winning nothing major with Oli coaches, that owners and hierarchy. Also says Abdallah, we will get into that. Ab says, well, go on, my guy. Hope you're blessed. Big up Canada Devil, who is another regular as well. Big up to you. Love to my queen Mimi every time. She says, this show produces kings and I'm here for it. Love to Mimi every single time. Ryan here says, big up the panel. Large up little bro as well. Canada Devil says, they're trying to make people think they want to compete, but next year they'll be back to the same old ish. We'll talk about that as well. And look at this guy running agendas. He says Jay Socials is the guy he knows Varane is overrated. He never said that. That's not what he said.
Putting words in my mouth.
Verbatim, yeah. He has reservations, which is understandable. I'm a big fan of Varane, but I have reservations because he's playing under Oli 1. Number 2, there's no DM. Number 3, he's playing next to Maguire. So I have reservations. You could put prime Paolo Maldini in his prime, you know what I'm saying, in this team, and I will have reservations about him simply because of what's around him. So we see how this guy just running his agendas. Large up everyone in the comments as well. But since you mentioned it, Jay, we'll go on to that. Let's go. So let's say so I'll ask you 2 questions. Do you want Varane 1 to come in? And let's say whether you do or you don't, hypothetically, how would you see it working if he was to come in?
Obviously, I definitely want him to come in. Any new space is good. Like we said, we've talked about Lindelof and Maguire together as just not the right pairing for a team like Manchester United. So it would definitely be exciting to see him in the EPL, see him play for Manchester United as well. Other than that, like I'd still have reservations, especially following the French team. I've just never really rated him as like a solid defender that I can rely on. He's had good partners next to him in the likes of Ramos. In the World Cup, I forget who was.
Kimpembe. In the World Cup. I forgot.
Yeah,
I thought you meant the Euros.
Right next to him. You have very good partnerships with Varane. So it will be nice to kind of see him step out of those shoes and come into his own as a leader at Man U. I think that would be really good. What was the other question? How he would fit in the team? I think it's going to be the exact same thing. I know Ole's talking about not doing the double pivot this season and going with a 4-3-3. So that might help now that
something
we
else we're
have
going to get into as well. See, this is why you're here, Jake. Seeing the two questions I've asked you, sorry to cut you off, you made great points, which is going to add to the show. See, this is why you're here. You know what I'm saying? Because you're bringing up stuff that I'd forgotten about in it. So you already know. Go on, carry on. Man, just wanted to give you your flowers. Yeah. Carry on.
So I think with the 4-3-3, it could work. The only question is it going to be Fred or McTominay? Since we're not being linked with a CDM, that's going to be the huge question. But I don't think much is going to change in terms of the personnel. I think it's only going to obviously more confidence in the back, and then you have two ball playing defenders because Varane is also pretty good at carrying the ball out from the back. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. But yeah, I don't think it's going to change too much with the dynamic of a team. It's just going to make it feel a bit more secure at the back.
Okay, no, I hear what you're saying. Temmie, same to you. So thoughts, whether you want Varane or not, and say whether you do or whether you don't, hypothetically, how would you see it working if he did come in? Is it a massive improvement? Is it a little bit of an upgrade? Do you have strong reservations on it, like full thoughts?
Yeah, no, I have absolutely no reservations about Raphael Varane.
Let's go, Temmie. Let's go.
Let's just be completely frank. He is 2 levels above both of our center backs currently. Like, let's just get that out of the way.
I think it's more. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, Harry Maguire has won nothing. Victor Lindelof has pretty much won nothing. Together, people know how I feel about Harry Maguire. I've never thought in a million years that he would be the best center back in a title-winning side. Like that was never going to happen. Never in a million years. Getting Raphael Varane, he has won. He won 3 Champions Leagues on the trot. Yes, that team was amazing, but he was a part of that. He was a crucial part of that cog. He's won a World Cup, and I believe he was the best center back as in his pairing and in that World Cup. He's won.
I would say that. Yes, I agree.
He's won league titles. It's just when you improve to that, there's no way you can't improve defensively when you have somebody coming into your defense that's just on a completely different level. It might expose our other defenders. But he will be that constant. So yes, I think he would improve us tremendously. To this whole thing of how would he fit, he is good on the ball. I think Harry Maguire is decent on the ball. I think Lindelof's very good on the ball. So that's something that's going to be good to have, somebody who has a bit more recovery pace than Victor and Harry, so he can step out with the ball and Harry can sit, or vice versa, and there will be some form of cover there, which is good. So yeah, no, Varane's going to be if we do get him, I'm still having huge reservations on that actually happening. If we do get him, he makes us exponentially better. And then on the topic of the whole Ollie playing a 4-3-3, I don't see that happening. If we don't get a DM in, it will be Fred and McTominay again. Just that's a guarantee. We're not unless he believes Matic has had a, I like Matic, but he obviously doesn't. He doesn't seem in his future plans. That's why he doesn't play. If we are not playing Matic consistently, we will not be playing a 4-3-3. Even if we get Camavinga, let's just say that happens. He's not really a DM. He's not really a DM. You can't play him and Pogba in a 2 and then have Bruno as that just will not work. It will not work. So yeah, no, if we don't get a DM, you should expect to see Fred and McTominay, maybe Pogba pushed further forward on the left-hand side. And that's pretty much going to be it. I can't see anything different, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying with that. With the Varane thing, he's a massive upgrade on what we have. Massive. I don't think people realize that. Bambo said, "Oh, flawless. I hate flawless. I love how you hate Lindelof. I don't hate Lindelof. I just don't think he's good enough. That's all it is. Lindelof is not good enough, and that's not me saying Maguire is like levels above Lindelof or anything like that. Oh yeah, I'm not saying he's world class or top class. What I'm saying is I think Lindelof is very poor, and I think if Maguire performed and made the mistakes that Lindelof makes, he would get crucified. Like I used the Euros as an example. Sweden are down to 10 men. It's the last minute in extra time. I can't remember who knocked them out. Was it Denmark who knocked out Sweden in the Euros?
No, it was
Ukraine.
It was Ukraine. That was it. Ukraine. Yeah. Ukraine swing a ball in from the left-hand side into the box. Lindelof is going back into his own box as a central defender with 10 men and is marking nobody. And he has no intention of marking anybody. Switch that. If England are playing Germany and Sane has the ball and whips in across and Maguire's going back into his box, I mean, this is the last minute of extra time and he's marking nobody, we're still talking about it now. Lindelof's mistake is not mentioned, and he does that on a regular basis. When we conceded the goal against Villarreal, you say that again?
I have so many thoughts on this. I disagree with you so much on this.
Yeah, go on. Carry on. Let's go. Let's go.
Victor, so over the past 7 months, right?
Let's go.
Maguire has been pretty damn good. I can't lie. He has been pretty damn good the past 7 months. If we go back past those 7 months, I promise you, Harry Maguire has made way more mistakes than Victor Lindelof. I can almost rubber stamp it. I can almost rubber stamp it. If we go back, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, here's the thing with that, though. It's because Lindelof positions himself not to make mistakes. That's why he's never on the scene. No. You're supposed to be on the scene and that. How you fight in crime, but you never on the crime scene and that. This guy's never there.
I don't agree with that.
He's never. No. I swear down, Timmy. Go and screen. You see when we can see goals. Go screenshot when like the head is being headed at the goal or the shot. Screenshot it. Why is it in the center of the goal and you're nowhere to be seen?
All I can say is for both of them, I think they're basically. I think they're very similar. I think Maguire just has a bit of an edge over Lindelof. But in terms of the goals, I do get it. Like every time we concede, it's either Maguire and Lindelof they're nowhere close to the ball, or the man or the player who scored the goal. And that's my issue is you're the center backs, but you're never close to the ball in your box. And that's where, for me, whether it's Lindelof or Maguire, they kind of interchange. And I think that's why they just can't play well together. It's not saying they're not good. I just feel like they make similar mistakes. So to me, it's like you can't have both of them playing together. But I think they both have their fair share of
both make mistakes. I'm not saying that.
I just think that. So what Harry Maguire? So I think what Harry Maguire has over Victor is he's just physically stronger. He's a much more physical presence than Victor is. What I think Victor has over Harry is that for the type of football we as Manchester United fans want to play, he is he is very, very good on the ball, and people sleep.
He's good on the ball. I do give him credit for that. I give him credit for that.
And I think for his ball playing, he reads the game better than Harry Maguire does on a consistent basis. If we're talking Premier League football, right? I think he reads danger way better than Harry Maguire. If Harry Maguire caught out even a little bit, it's over because he has no recovery pace. That's why recovery
pace is a lack of it.
That's why for England he looks great because Gareth Southgate is a pragmatic manager, right? He's absorbing pressure more often than not, and that's where Harry Maguire can thrive because if balls are getting put into the box, he's like his head's like a magnet. He's gonna get it out of there. He's decent enough on the ball to if he's caught in a tight space, he can get out of it and knock it long. But in Premier League football, the way we want to play as Manchester United fans, Harry Maguire stepping out with the ball, losing the ball, getting caught out. That's why I think Varane is so important because I think Harry Maguire as a number 2 I agree with that. And Victor Lindelof as number 2, I think are very, very good center backs. But if you're asking one of them to, be that that rock, exactly. Yeah. I don't think either of them can do it.
Like I said, my biggest issue with Lindelof it's not his ability. Like I said, it's his just lack of being combative. And when I say being combative, I'm not saying being physical. I'm saying he plays hide. And I've seen you hide. The Sweden game I'm talking about. Last minute of the game. And you're going back into your box. And you're not even looking over your shoulder to see who's around. He does this on a regular basis. But because a goal doesn't always go in, or because Maguire will take the brunt of it, because a lot of the time, I've seen Maguire trying to cover for Lindelof, and as we spoke about, Maguire is barely good enough to cover for himself. No, let me land. Because Maguire struggle. Maguire is not good, is barely good enough to cover for himself. So the fact he's trying to get across, there was a goal we conceded, it was mad. Shout out to my Dons, JV and Stroh, because they put me onto it, is when we played Liverpool in the FA Cup. It was Liverpool in the FA Cup. I think Bruno scored the penalty. Yeah. Watch Lindelof move away from Salah for the goal. There's only one place the through ball is going. I swear that it's the one when he chipped. He was in goal. It might have been De Gea. I think they'd be 1. Was it 2-1, 4-2? Watch the pass that goes through. to Salah. I can't remember who played the pass. He moves away from the lane. That's the only place he's going. He makes a move to his right, and then by the time he tries to get back left, because he's trying to hide. This is what he does.
If I start pulling up Harry Maguire receipts, it's gonna get real scary.
Yeah,
I think they both hide.
They're real scary.
One thing I will say about Maguire, when he makes mistakes, we know he's there.
I've seen Harry Maguire get nutmegged by Junior Stanislas. I've seen and get scored right after.
I've seen that happen. Yes. But what I'm saying is, okay. Most people, I think I'm in the minority here. Most people think Harry Maguire is a better center back than Victor Lindelof. I'm not even fighting. Yeah, I'm not even fighting for Maguire over Lindelof. I'm saying my issue with Lindelof is I know you can do better. That's my problem. I think it's a lack of effort from him.
I think it's fine margins.
With Maguire, I don't think go on, Jay. Go on.
So I think it's just fine margins with both of them. I mentioned this in one of the Q&As that we had, and I said the problem that I have with both defenders is they pass on the responsibility, which is what I hate. When your two main center backs are always passing on the responsibility, that's why I like Bailly. Apart from his recovery pace, he doesn't pass on the responsibility. He's not, every time I look at Maguire or Lindelof, they're always expecting somebody else to cover, and it's always like, oh, right there. Sometimes as a center back, you've got to demand that but you got to demand what you want by examples. Like you look at Rio and Vidic did that. It was, even Bailly does that too, is he goes for the tackle. He's not waiting for Maguire to show up to make that tackle. Yes. He's running as fast as he can to stop it. And I think that's what we lack when we have both Maguire and Lindelof. We don't have that person that can just take the initiative versus always asking, oh, can someone else do it? Can someone else do it? And I feel that's where our defenders lack, and both of them is they always pass on the responsibility to someone else.
And I get that to an extent, yeah. And here's my issue, like we were talking about with Lindelof, the reason why I'm so critical of him, because I look at him and I'm like, this is a lack of effort. With Maguire, I don't see it as a lack of effort. You're just not good enough. You know what I'm saying? I don't see him not. It sounds funny. He's just not good enough. Like people talk about him getting ran past. He can't run any quicker. Like we've seen, it was Bergwijn for Spurs go past him. Maguire, a lot of the time when we're being broken on, Maguire's trying to get back. He's just not quick enough. You know what I'm saying? And that it's not a lack of effort from him. That's just an ability thing. And obviously you need to improve on that. With me, with Lindelof, I see this guy hide a lot of the times, and I'm like, I'll take you just making mistakes because you're not good enough in that. But I won't. It's a lack of effort. That's my issue with it. And the Sweden game is a prime example.
That's
I get what you're saying.
That's interesting.
That's what it is. Yeah. Go on.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. We'll agree to disagree. Agree to disagree.
You know what? And
that being said, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. I was gonna say too. That kind of really pissed me off end of last season when Maguire got injured, and I think fans' memories are too short. Yeah. Like we had conceded 54 goals last season. Maguire played basically 99% of those games. And the fact that in the last two games we conceded 1 or 2 goals and everyone was calling for Maguire back and saying, oh, this is why Bailly doesn't start. This is why Tuanzebe doesn't start. And it's like, what are you talking about? We still conceded the exact same goals with Maguire playing. And it just frustrates me when I see fans just switch so quick. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like,
bad memories.
Maguire, we keep gassing Maguire up. I think he's a decent defender, but I think people need to realize his limitations. And he has the price tag of 80 million pounds or whatever he was paid for. But I don't think that because it's 80 million pounds means that he's the best he's the best defender. I just feel people overhype him, and I just feel our system. It's a good thing that we've brought in a set piece coach or whatever that might help, but I just feel like we still lack. Even if Varane was to come in, I just feel the way we play, our shape, and just our coaching, I just feel like it's still not going to be good enough, and we might still see those same mistakes happen.
Yeah, so. We still might. Larger, my guy Harris as well. He says, my guy, big up. I will get to all the comments. Well, the majority of the comments are kind of Varane's level, says Bambo. I agree, man. He does, innit? Obviously. And Lindelof and Maguire, you're not in the minority here. Like, this is a regular debate that happens between the two of them. Like, I've said what I've said about Lindelof and Maguire. And then a lot of people in the comments have had, not so much today, but I've had your comments on it as well to me in regards to Maguire. And like I said, I'm not saying Maguire is good enough. Like, I don't think for where Manchester United are trying to go, either of them are. But I do agree with what you've both said in terms of Varane. improves either or of them. I definitely think he improves Lindelof or Maguire simply because of the recovery pace. He'll then be the number one centre back. Whoever he plays next to, you're now the go-to guy. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to find out a lot because I rate Varane very highly. And the fact that I've seen Manchester United fans talk about not wanting him is crazy. Is he perfect? No. But I don't think any centre-back, unless there's a centre-back I don't know about, I don't think the perfect centre-back exists. And he's a huge upgrade on what we have. People don't realize, innit? Like, this is from going from a one-bedroom flat to a mansion. Like, that's the type of upgrade we are talking here, people. And whether that mansion might be a bit dodgy.
With a backyard and a pool.
Seriously, a whole backyard and a pool, exactly. And a pool. All right, the pool might not work all the time, you get what I'm saying? The backyard, the grass might not be the best, but it's still a massive upgrade on paper. From Victor Lindelof to Raphael Varane is a huge upgrade. I don't think people realize this. Like, massive. What our defense has been, or even to Maguire, Varane to Maguire, you don't realize what this is. Like, on paper, his age, the price, what he's won, and people point to the Euros, but all centre backs have poor. We've seen Ruben Diaz have a poor Euros. These things happen. We've seen Kylian Mbappe have a poor Euros. Quality players go through poor patches of form and have poor tournaments. So So City we should now not rate Diaz as highly because he had a poor Euros. Or did he just have a poor? Same with Mbappe. We just seen him have a poor Euro. Varane is a huge upgrade. Yes, it might not work, but when you look at it and see Ben White's going for a similar price, that tells you all you need to know. Because I know who I'd rather have, and he fits what we need as well. Because he's coming from a team. I don't think people realize as well when people talk about the pressure of playing for Manchester United. He's coming from probably the only team in Europe where there's more pressure, where the expectation is higher. So he's used to that. And he's been there for 10 years. Like, this is the same Real Madrid fans that have booed Cristiano Ronaldo. They've booed Gareth Bale. These are players who brought them 4 Champions Leagues in 5 years. They booed Raul, who's one of their legends. They booed Casillas. Like, so you realize the cauldron that they are in. And he's been there since he was, 19, 20.
People don't get it.
I don't think people understand it. I don't think so. But what I would love to see if he could stay fit is Bailly and Varane. I'd love to see that. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like in an ideal world, or there's talks of him going to an attacking formation. If he played a back three with Maguire, Varane, and Bailly, that could work too. You know what I'm saying?
Bailly is nice on the ball too. He does some step overs and, he's nice on the ball as well. He's all
Hey,
from when I seen him doing step overs, you get me? It was against Chelsea.
Let's talk. Do we really want our center back doing that in our own box? Do we want Do we actually want that? Let's talk
about we don't want that. But the one thing he doesn't do is pass back. That's the one thing he doesn't do. He's always looking for a pass.
Bailly. I love Bailly because he's entertaining. But I'm sorry, he makes me too nervous. Nervous.
That's what it is, man. I'm on a vibes and entertainment thing. Entertain. From when I see him doing step overs in the box against Chelsea, I was like, let's go. Why not? Why not?
Man did a pirouette in the box. What?
It's everybody for you in it. You never know. But that being said, if we do play, if we do play, I was looking at one of the comments. If we do play a back three, that legit, all jokes aside, could work. A Bailly, Varane, Maguire back three definitely could work. Then you got Williams, you got Shaw, you got Tellers, Wan-Bissaka can play wing back as well. So you got options to talk to Trippier. But on the Varane thing, obviously we're talking about it hypothetically. Do I believe it happens? No. You know what I'm saying? I'm still unsure on it. Even though I know Fabrizio Romano tweeted about it and all the sources are saying that we're the strongest candidates. He wants to come to Manchester United. He wants to come to the Premier League, etc. I believe it when I see it. Because like I said, I refuse to believe the United hierarchy are trying to compete and move like a proper club all of a sudden. After all these years of not doing this, now you want to move correctly and properly in the summer. So I'm like, why? I look at it a little bit. I'm very skeptical on it. But we'll go to you, Tell me, what's your thoughts on this whole as well? Because Jay brought it up about United are going to play 4-3-3 and we're going with a more attacking formation.
Excuse me, my bad, guys.
Nah, it's cool, man. You shout out. You know what? I should have passed it on to Jay. It's cool. Go on.
I'm good. But Ollie's a pragmatic manager. Let's just get that out the way right now. He is a pragmatic manager. I know in his past he's played a 4-3-3 at Molde. He played it at Cardiff. A lot less pressure, right? A lot less pressure. You can kind of do what you want. You can kind of implement what you want. No one's going to question it, right? At Manchester United, when he's too scared to play a 4-3-3 at the highest level because his in-game tactics, his style of play there's no patterns of play. Let's be consistently, I should say, right? So him playing a 4-3-3 could expose him, right? We could get caught out on the break, right? As it currently stands, we have center backs that if we get caught out on the break, it's not great, right? So playing a 4-2-3-1, which I don't mind, gives a platform for him to be defensively solid and go forward. The issue is those people, the two guys playing in that double pivot aren't good enough, right? You have a double pivot of Ruben Neves and Wilfred Ndidi. It's an automatic upgrade, even though they are still more defensive minded. It's just they're better players, right? Fred and McTominay are not good enough to be playing for Manchester United week in and week out, and expecting and with the expectations of it has to be attractive football, right? They are not good enough for that. So, yes, I don't think he's going to move to a 4-3-3 unless he plans on playing Matic again, which I also can't see, right? So, expect 4-2-3-1. Maybe we get a Camavinga, right? And he plays maybe he plays Fred and Camavinga, right? Or something like that. But I can't see a 4-3-3 where we have Bruno playing as an 8, Pogba playing as an 8. We have Rashford and Sancho and then Cavani. I cannot see something like that happening. It doesn't suit what Ali has shown us he is as a manager. So
right, exactly the same to you, Jay. Like, what's your thoughts? Obviously, you brought it up as well, and I was actually forgot about that point. So I'm glad you did. This rumor that happened, because I take all of these things with a pinch of salt, and I give my opinions on it. Because I've not really spoke on it in full, but your thoughts on it, like this rumor that Oli is going to switch to an attacking 4-3-3.
Yeah, you know what? Like for me, it's like we talk about Ole being pragmatic. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like there's a lot of managers that are pragmatic. Deschamps for France is pragmatic, but they still played some good football as well. So for me, it's the right personnel, right? It's making sure that you put in the players in the right position, which I don't think Ole has done yet. The 4-3-3 could definitely work. Like we saw, Fred. I know people are very hard on Fred, but look at what he did at Copa America. Like he was pretty good. Like to be in that Brazilian team, we've got to give him some credit. I know a lot of times we always say, oh, it's just Copa America. Oh, it's just the Euros, international football. But you know what? Our best player, Bruno Fernandes, didn't do anything in the Euros. So I think we got to look at how can we use the players that we have. I think if you put maybe, Fred playing like a 6 role or something in there, you can have, like a Van de Beek or a Pogba, right, that can sit in the middle to kind of dictate the play. It could work, but we already know that that's not going to happen. Ole is going to figure out a way to put in McTominay, which I just feel that's going to happen. He's going to look away to squeeze in McTominay and your Daniel Jameses of this world. So till I see it, I don't believe it. And for me, I don't believe that he should just go with a 4-3-3. I just feel like I just want to see Ole try different things with a team. That's what I want to see. I don't care about what formation he uses. I just want him to try different things with the squad that we have. So that's
Jay, I have a question for you. Do you really think Fred is good enough to play at the base of a 4-3-3?
It's a good question. I'll let you go, Jay. I'm gonna answer that.
I'll just answer. I'll answer my own question and say,
He's like, no.
On a consistent basis, probably not.
Yeah. So like
to be games for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I like Fred too. When I said Fred and McTominay aren't good enough, it's more of the balance of the two isn't good enough, right? Again, Fred played for the Brazilian national team. He had a Casemiro next to him, right? That was helping. Fred can push forward a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He can play the Conte role without worrying about what's behind him, right?
Yeah.
Which is when he's at his best, when he's playing as an 8. But then here's the real crux of it, right? If you take Bruno Fernandes away from that number 10 position, it takes away Ollie's main goal scoring threat, right? Everything that Ollie has kind of built this team around is to get Bruno goals and assists, right? Yeah. If you drop Bruno further back, it almost forces you as a manager to have a style of play that is conducive to the team score. Like, there's more balance in the team, right? Not one person scoring 30-something goals, 20-something assists, right? it would be a mixture of, okay, we have 15 goals from Martial, we have 10 goals, 12 goals from Bruno, right? We have 10 goals from Paul, right? That if we're playing a fluid style of football, that's what's going to happen. If you see Man City's teams, right? Obviously, that's normally Aguero will have his 20, but then it's spread out everywhere. Gundogan will have 8, De Bruyne will have 11 to 12. Sterling will have 12. It's spread out because the team is functioning and it's not dependent on one player, right? When De Bruyne got injured that one season, like was it 2 seasons ago? They still ran.
Even last season, Gundogan stepped up.
They didn't need him. So that's the challenge Ali has. I don't think he's good enough as a manager offensively to do something like that, unless he has the player. So if he has a DM like an Ndidi, plays Fred, maybe plays Bruno as an 8, Pogba on the left, those players are good enough to figure it out, right? But as it currently stands, our midfield is not competing with Liverpool's. It's not competing with Chelsea's. It's not competing with Man City's. As it currently stands, those three midfields are deeper and more balanced.
Well, I get what you're saying with that. To answer your question in terms of Fred, do I believe he's good enough to play off the base of a 4-3-3 as a first teamer? No. I think as a backup, yes. I think against lesser opposition, when we're dominating the ball, yes. If we're playing Newcastle at home, Fred in the DM role shouldn't be why we're losing or drawing that game. I'm looking at the rest of the team. You don't need people got this myth that you need a world-class DM, and neither are used to, man, but I see it that you need a world-class DM to beat at Newcastle. You get me, at home or away, or to beat the lesser at Crystal Palace. Oh, it's because of the midfield. Surely you should be able to get past that. You know what I'm saying? And if you're playing the better side, if we're playing City away, you mentioned the midfield's there, key. The midfield is key in those type of games against City, against Liverpool, against Chelsea. If you're in the Champions League against a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, or PSG. But for the most part, you should be okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You should be up. Because Liverpool, if you look at their team, Fabinho's top quality. Oh, yeah. The rest of that midfield, I wouldn't take a Henderson. I'm not taking Ox. I'm not taking Keita. I wouldn't take Wijnaldum. You know what I'm saying? I think if we had any of those 4 I just named, I wouldn't take Wijnaldum. No.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't take Wijnaldum.
Actually, stop that. Yeah, you know what?
You take Wijnaldum. I wouldn't take Wijnaldum.
Yes. Nah. He would immediately walk in and start for us immediately.
Yeah, but the thing is, Tammy, I think you'd immediately walk in and start for us. The ball's on the floor. That's my point.
Genie's gonna play for.
Here's the thing, though. No, he'll play the bat because that's my point. Is when we talk about players coming in and playing for Manchester United, we talk instantly about the deficiencies of those two. Because Fred and McTominay aren't of a level. Any half team. I'm not saying they're better than Wijnaldum's. What's it called? It's not better than Fred or McTominay. What I'm saying is there's a certain level we asked. Like we've mentioned the Neves, we mentioned the Ndidi. Like that's the level I am talking about.
Yeah, no, he's not right. So he's not a GM. Yes, that's 100%.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying when I say that.
So again, with what you're saying about even Fred for the lesser teams, I wouldn't play him as a lone DM ever. And here's why.
Ever. Okay, go.
Let me explain why. Right, as our midfield is currently constructed, we don't have enough. I think, and a lot of fans don't think about this. We don't have enough midfielders who understand what's going on this way, right? Positional awareness, right? If Fred is playing with another player who has quality on the ball and is positionally aware, that 4-2-3-1, it will naturally just work itself out. So one person will push forward, one person will stay back, just naturally, right? So if we have Fred, let's say it's Fred, Pogba, Bruno. Pogba and Bruno don't have, both of their biggest weaknesses are their positional awareness, right? They want to be further forward, and that's not their fault. They're attacking players, right? They really shouldn't be they shouldn't be thinking about that. They should be thinking of getting on the ball and making things happen. But if you put them in that number 8 role, it forces them, right, to think about that, positional awareness. Like so when it was Matic, Herrera, Pogba, right? Pogba's not worried too much about
defense,
positional awareness. Herrera understands that he needs to be positionally aware. Matic just does it naturally because that's his role, right? So we don't have that. We don't have a 3 currently that can do that, right? Unless Matic is the one playing at the base, right? But can he play at the base for a 38 game season at his age?
No, not as a first teamer. No, again, similar to that.
So that's the real challenge is, we don't have a balance, right? We don't have a DM. We don't have another DM. You know what I'm saying? To balance out the squad and let maybe Pogba play and Bruno play as 8s. You know what I'm saying? So it's really tricky.
I still believe that Fred could be molded into that. He already has all the qualities and you know, of a player that not necessarily a DM. I think in today's day and age, we don't need like a Makalele, you know what I mean? Or like Conte is great at what Conte does. But I think Fred is kind of in that conversation when you talk about players who are solid at the back, they work hard and they're just a nightmare for attacking players, right? I feel depending on the games that you play, if we're playing, and I think that's where Bruno's position, and I feel that's why he's not a 10. And I've been screaming that because, like we've talked about last season, he was not in a 10. Like he didn't play as a 10. He played more of like a supporting striker role. Like a lot of times he was ahead of Cavani. It makes no sense. Like number 10s are usually on the ball a lot, looking for who to pass to. I forget, it was KDB's interview on Sky Sports, and they asked him, do you like scoring or assisting? And he said, I like to assist. That's KDB. That's the kind of Bruno needs to either be a KDB, a player like a number 10 who's gonna focus on creating versus focusing on scoring goals. And I think Bruno's the kind of player that we could, you can even put him as a false 9 or put him on the wing, but I still believe he's a massive liability in the middle of the park. He's a massive liability. In terms of Pogba, Deschamps said it best. Pogba, he knows when to go forward. He knows when to defend. Yes. Does he try to dribble in his own half? Yes, he does that. He makes those mistakes. But overall, I think depending on the team that we're playing, that 3 midfield could work. Maybe Bruno might not be the 10 when we're playing a Fred at the back. Maybe you might have to be a Van de Beek playing. Like that game, I think it was the Leipzig game, the one game that Beek started. I think it was Fred, Beek, and Pogba. And it wasn't bad. Yeah. Our ball retention was way better. So there was less pressure on the DM. There was less pressure on our center backs. And I think that's the issue we have. We don't have I'm not putting this all on Bruno. It's definitely not all on him. I think it's just a system we play, and we've given certain players too much freedom to do whatever they want, and certain players are too restricted. So because of that, we have a very dysfunctional midfield. But I think the players that we have, we can make it work.
And that's my point, is we're talking about the defensive issues and players not being defensively sound because we have a pragmatic manager. That's the problem we have. You know what I'm saying? And that the fact that we're talking about Pogba and what he can do going backwards. You know what I'm saying? What Bruno might have to do going backwards. I say this all the time. If you dominate the ball, it doesn't matter about defense like that. You know what I'm saying? If you, I'm really and truly, United against most teams, we should be dominating the ball. Again, if we're playing Real Madrid away, I understand it. If we're playing Newcastle at home, why are we worried about playing whoever is in that DM? Whether it's Matic, whether it's Fred. Let's just use those two because we've used those two as there. That's not a problem area. The reason why we're discussing it and why it's such a hot topic, and it's been such a hot topic during Ollie's reign, is because he's persistent on the 2 DMs thing. Again, we should be able to beat most of the league with the attacking players we have. Because if I always use this as an example, if United were playing against ourselves, so say it was United had the players we had, but the other team had players of our quality, we'd be talking about how good that other team is. Oh, they've got Cavani, Martial, Rashford, Sancho, Pogba, Bruno, Donny don't even make the bench. How are we going to compete against these? So when we have all this ammo, we don't utilize it. We're worried about the worst part of our team because we're pragmatic, yet still concede goals and are still not defensively solid, which lets me know, all right, just go out and attack them. How about we go and play on the front foot? And I say all that to say this. That's on the manager, and this is why I don't believe this whole the manager's why is he gonna change all of a sudden? I don't get it. What's changed? Is it because Varane's coming in? Is it because you got Sancho? What's changed? Nothing's changed like that to change your whole approach. What's happened that all of a sudden you want to attack?
So flawless. You're 100% right. I think a lot of people. Ollie's a pragmatic manager, and in any other circumstance other than being a Manchester United manager, that's probably cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we need to dispel this notion that if you're a pragmatic manager, you're a bad manager. No, because there's tons of managers. There's tons of managers who win endless trophies. Atletico Madrid just won La Liga playing 100%. Pragmatic football, right? 100%. But to that point, when you are Manchester United's manager, it's almost your duty. It's almost your duty to play forward-thinking football, right?
Yes.
It's like woven into the ethos of the club, right? That's the way we've been playing since this club was founded, right? So Ollie has to figure that. Obviously, he's talked a good game on that. Like, yes, I want to play. The pretty much buzzwords, forward thinking, fast, he says
a politician.
Yeah, he says all the buzzwords, but it doesn't really come to fruition consistently, right? But I will give him this season again to say, hey, I don't think it will change. But if he can get me a trophy, if he can make us compete, challenge, maybe we're 3-4 points off the top, I'll deal with it. I will deal with it because I do think the club is healthier than it's been from a top to bottom perspective than it has been in a really long time. I think the players rock with him no matter what we say about him. We can say whatever. Pogba's endorsed him, Bruno's endorsed him, Shaw's, and all the best players have endorsed him, right? So we just kind of have to take that, run with it, and see what happens this season. You know what I'm saying? But don't expect exciting football because
yeah. And I think it's like just to kind of add this really quick. The thing with Manchester United, it's I think ever since Mourinho left, it's been, with Mourinho, and I felt like the fan base were a bit more united, and we knew, there was issues with the personnel that we had on the team, but we could look and say, okay, the coach, we all agreed that, okay, the coach needs to go. We need to freshen it up. Mm-hmm. With Ole, I feel like ever since Ole came, I may be wrong. I just feel like we've been so divided as a fan base. We've been throwing so many players under the bus. Like it's always, Bruno versus Pogba, Van de Beek versus, Martial versus Rashford. And it's getting to the point that we don't even know what our team is like, what our players are like. Last season, I defended our players so much because I looked at that team and I saw what each individual player was given to that team. For us to finish second the way we did, you've got to commend these players. And I think we're in a situation whereby our players are being put under the bus way too much by our fan base. And there is the one guy that keeps getting protected out of everything. And it's crazy because you look at it. I'm going to use the Euros as an example and maybe Copa America. All the players, the players that Ole seems to favor so much, they're jack all. They didn't do anything. But the players that we make fun of, even though we haven't seen them play, we still say they're not good enough for Manchester United. They've done well. And it's frustrating as a fan because we look at our entire squad. We just have a team. We don't have a squad because Ole has chosen to just use a few players and that's it. So I think until Ole starts showing us the other players, not just in training, we want to see them come in and out of the squad, of the team. I think that's when we're going to have a better assessment of who needs to be at the club, who needs to play where. And you know what I mean? I just feel like right now, Ole just hasn't shown us enough of the squad for us to even make any educational decision on players right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I agree with that in terms of what specifically what Tammy said about being a pragmatic manager doesn't necessarily mean you're bad. The problem I think we have with Ole being pragmatic is if you're pragmatic and your defense is better than your attack, we fully understand that. We have no issue with that. You know what? Most people would be like, I don't like the football, but I understand because you don't have the weapons at your disposal to use. Our attack is miles better than our defense. I don't even think it's close. I don't think there's anyone who looks at a United squad and goes, our defense. So it's like, why not utilize what you have? Because the thing is, being defensive and being pragmatic hasn't got you the results. If I got you the results and you'd won trophies, nobody can say anything. Same way with Southgate at England. If Southgate would have won the Euros, he could have told everybody shut up. Tells everybody shut up. Complain about you want me not playing Grealish, me not playing Sancho, pragmatic football, a back three with 2 DMs, blah, 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 because he would have won the trophy. I say this all the time. When you play pragmatic football, you have to win. Yeah, you have to win because if you don't win, you give people a massive stick to beat you with. You give people multiple sticks. Whereas if you play attacking football and go for it, people go, at least you go for it. The reason why people got so upset, and fans, myself included, with Ole in the Europa League final, it wasn't the fact that we lost, which was upsetting. It was the manner in which we lost. The fact that we didn't go for it. Never once in our 120 minutes did we go for the knockout. I use the boxing analogy. You have a United are like a boxer who have knockout power, but we never swing haymakers. That's more of saying you never let your hands go. Adrian Brown is one of my favorite boxers, and I know he has power, but it pisses me off that he doesn't let his hands go. We're like a great boxer who don't let our hands go, and we're defensive and pragmatic. For what reason? And it's not yielding results. We don't get results with it. And that's the biggest thing with Ollie. The fact that we can play, I think it was most 0-0s last season. We got more than Van Gaal. Look at the attack Van Gaal had and look at what we had. Our attack is insane. The most goals
conceded, the most goals scored. We had everything. So it shows you we have a squad that's just not being utilized because we were number one. The most goals conceded, the most goals scored, the most, the draws, everything. It's like, okay, so we have a team, we have a squad. I just feel the team is way better than we give credit. And I just feel like we just need to change it. Like even last season, there's so many games that you look at it and it's like, okay, you know what? I just wish that there was a way that Bruno and Rashford could have come off the bench and it would have been way more effective than them starting. Or vice versa. There's games whereby maybe B could have come on or somebody could have come on. And you just see it play out game in, game out, the same formation, the same lineup, the same decision makings, and it's just like, wow, like what else can you give me as a coach other than just that, right? So
and it's not been working.
It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Like,
go on, Tim.
I was very Ollie out. Like his first season, like extremely, like I wanted him gone so bad. Like every week I'm tweeting it, and then Bruno came. Things changed a little bit. I saw the way the players kind of were reacting to him. I know he is not good enough to be Manchester United's manager, right? But I know he's not going anywhere, right? And I'm taking things into account. Like, okay, I didn't think we were going to get second place last year. Did any of you before the season predict second? No one, right? No. So I took that. I'm like, okay, it was kind of boring. It was a very boring season, but we got second. That was something I didn't expect. I did not expect us to, compete for titles. Honestly, I didn't, and we kind of sort of did it. So I don't hate. Kind of sort of. That's the word I use.
For a long. It was a long weekend. That's what I would say. It was a long weekend. Yeah, it was a long weekend.
But I also just I know he's not going anywhere, right? So I'm gonna give him that space where this is his last. He has to win a trophy this season, right? Or I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I have no positive things to say after that, right? But that being said as well, when we talk about our team. Our team is better than what we give it credit for. I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, we have all this talent." We have Van de Beek, we have Pogba, we have Bruno, If we compare our squad to the best team in the league, which is City's, we do not. We don't compare. We just don't.
No, we don't compare. I think the issue is not in terms of.
It's not like quality for quality,
it's not what it is. It's not our team not being of a quality. It's not us getting the best out of it. Because I believe if we get the best, if Ollie gets the best out of Manchester United, we still fall short. We still finish behind City. But then you know what we do if that happens? We know we need more. All I'm asking for is United to try and be the best we can be. That's it. I'm not even, I say this all the time. I'm not even talking about us winning Premier Leagues or Champions Leagues. What I'm saying is do our very best to compete. Because if seasons like last season's happened where Liverpool were bad last season, Chelsea were happen, that's when you get a Leicester situation. And who knows if we were closer to Manchester City, if we were 6 points behind them, closing in on the last 3-4 games, they got a Champions League coming up. Who knows whether one eye would have been on that and we're breathing down their necks. My point is do our very best to put ourselves in the best position in case the teams above us have bad seasons. We've seen 2 out of the 3 top teams in the country have bad seasons. And who knows what could have happened with City. The same thing, Leicester did that. Everybody had a bad season. That's not a disrespect to Leicester. Leicester took full advantage. Arsenal finished second that season. That tells you all you need to know about the levels of that season. They did. They finished. Arsenal finished.
You got to remember too, like City was not like City did not have a good season till the last 3 months of the season where they just won every game. But we had so many opportunities to have extended that lead. which we did not take advantage of. And once again, it goes back to the decision makings where, the game wasn't going our way, rather than settling for a draw or waiting for Bruno to lob the ball to Rashford, 70 yards out. Ole did not make those changes. And, even when he did make the changes, it just did not work because these players were still on preseason form. Right. So it's just a combination of, I see what you're saying. I still feel that our squad, yes, does it need improvement? Every squad needs improvement. But when you look at the likes of, take City out of the equation, look at Europe, like at what the Champions League, like watching the Champions League after the group stage, there were so many times I was so upset because I was like, could you imagine our team? Our team could have actually gone far in the Champions League last season. Because I'm looking at all the teams, Barcelona, a lot of those teams are just carrying name. It's just their name that makes them seem a lot stronger than they are. Like a Real Madrid could barely beat Atalanta. You know what I mean? These were teams that we would slap. You know what I mean? So I just feel like
that's debatable, but that's very
debatable. But
I don't think we're beating slapping anybody in the Champions League. No.
Yeah, we've seen Man U on a good day. We see what these players can do on a good day.
100%.
I just feel a better coach could squeeze out a bit more juice from.
1,000%. I'm not defending Oli by any. What I'm saying is that I understand where we are at as a club. I understand that he is. Us complaining about him leaving is not going to make him leave.
That's
right?
True.
The only thing that's going to make him leave this season is if we don't win a trophy. That is.
I'm even unsure on that. Like, I think I'm even unsure on that. But I don't like how he's gotten this much time up until this point. Nobody else does.
There's been multiple times. His first season. His first season, he could have gone like 4 or 5 times. Burnley.
This guy, he's a cat with 9 lives, man. This guy always be surviving and that. He's like draining power. You get me? Well, you should have seen Power by now, people. He's like draining power. The amount of times that who he's like in Power? Like the Weasel fucking Sacks. I can't stand him. Super Sacks for those that know Power. This guy's still alive, You get me? Power Book 2 and this Weasel's still alive.
This guy got some life extensions,
Life extensions, man. Every time I'm like, yo, Ollie's gonna go. Yeah, go on.
That 6-1 versus Spurs last season, I was like, you gotta go. You just have to leave. You cannot be here. This is unacceptable. Go. But again, to that point, it's tough. Another thing I think is a big problem is I think he's a good manager, right? I think he has the players' ear. I think he has them for however he's done it. He's gotten his best players to endorse him, right? If he had a better coaching staff around him, right? Let's look at the people who are actually helping him.
I agree with that.
Achieve his goals.
You had better coaching,
Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna, Phelan, who's a million years old. Darren Fletcher was in and around it for a little bit. Like, that's not good enough. If he had a number 2 that was tactically, just on another planet, who could help facilitate, passages of play. Ollie's already said, I don't go on the training pitch and work with the players. He said that openly. You know what I'm saying? So that tells me he's not the one working on these passages of play. It's the assistants who are on the grass with the players. So get a number 2 who's going to be on the grass with the players, teaching them these passages of play, that we want to see as fans, right?
Okay, but people do say that. So people do say that, okay, but that's what makes you not a good coach then. If the fact that you cannot recognize that you need a better number 2. So if after a season and a half, I'll just say last season, because we finished the season before better.
I'm just letting you go. Just letting you go. You land, Jay. Yeah. You land because it's a beautiful land.
So it's like we've seen the whole season. If Ole looks at how we played last season and thinks that we're doing a great job, then that already answers the question that he's just not a good enough coach or a good enough manager. So, because for me, if you're a good enough manager, then you would know that, okay, what we saw last season was okay, but it wasn't good enough to challenge for a title. I don't care that we finished second. So at that point, you should be going to the board and saying, okay, I know that, last season was last season, but we need to challenge. I feel like we're getting better as a team, but we need a better number 2. But he's not doing that. So to me, that's still showing me, that's still answers the question. It's showing me that he's not good enough because he can't realize it and he can't see it.
He's not, and big up to Indiana as well. I will get to it. He says flawless. He's talking about Temi. He's talking about you, Temi. Of course, man. Only the best over here, Indiana. You know, including yourself, man. Salute to my Don, Indiana. Make sure you subscribe to the First XI. He's doing bits with that. He also says, did he not just bring in a set piece coach? Aye, he did, and we give Ollie credit for that. But why is it taking 4 years to get to that? Is my point. We've been bad at set pieces, so why is it taking for a long time? So okay, you don't get credit for putting out fires that you started. I'm sorry, innit? You set the house on fire and then you put it out with the water hose and want me to give you credit for that. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I've been done with this guy. The only reason why I say this all the time, the only reason why he gets such a blight is because he used to play for the club and he scored one of the most iconic goals in our history. And I love Ollie as a player. As a manager, not good enough, and all things point to that. And again, I've lowered my expectations with Manchester United. I'm not talking about winning Premier Leagues and Champions League. I'm talking about doing our very best to compete. If we competed and then we fell short, I'd go, that's on the team. I know the team's not the best, but Jay made a great point. Every single team in Europe can be improved upon. Whoever your top 5 is or top 3, whatever it is, whether you think it's City are looking at an attacking player, whether that's a 9 or a false 9, and they're looking at a left back. Chelsea are trying to sign a striker. Liverpool signed a centre back. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like everything. PSG, we've seen what they're doing. Real Madrid are going to go again. Barcelona, well, I don't know if they can register players now. They sign players. Every team can be improved on. There's no such thing as the perfect 11. I seen Manchester City win a league title with Otamendi and Stones at the back. We had Otamendi and Stones, our fan base would kick off. If we didn't have a number 9 and had Zinchenko and attacking midfielder playing left back, our fan base would kick off. Yes, Pep has a whole lot of other things, but he doesn't have everything he needs, but he's utilizing full. One thing Pep does at Manchester City is utilize fully what he has. Klopp does it at Liverpool. They got a number 9 who doesn't score goals, and they won the Premier League and the Champions League back to back. If you ask Klopp, would you prefer a number 9 who scored goals? He'd probably say yeah. Did Firmino not go a whole calendar year without scoring a goal at Anfield? He don't want that. But guess what? He's got Firmino. He's utilizing it. I use this example all the time as well. People talk about Trent not being able to defend. Trent's been like that the whole time, but you know what he did? He just put 3 6s in the midfield and got them to do his defensive side, because that's what you do in a team game. Bambo, how am I sending shots? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're talking. I'm just using them as example. There's no such thing as a perfect 11. The only time you'll get a perfect 11 is on Football Manager or FIFA.
Or a perfect bench, because our bench is never good enough. Our bench is never good enough. You know, against Villarreal, our bench was worth more than the entire team, but they still didn't come on. You know what I mean? So it's like
100 minutes.
At one point, where do these excuses just stop? But like you said, we just have to get used to it. It's like the tax man. We're never going to get away from paying taxes. You just got to figure out the best way not to pay a lot of taxes. So it's the same thing with United. This season, I'm going into the season as, okay, I'm not going to be all the way out from the beginning, but I'm also not going to be expecting so much, because last season I almost had a heart attack, high blood pressure, name any heart disease. I almost got it last season watching United. I just don't want to go through that again this season.
Hey, Bambo, let me know what shots I took. What shots did I take? I don't know what you talking about in it. I don't know who. I was just there using analogies and things of that nature about the perfect bench. Like, these things don't exist. Pep doesn't have the perfect team. Klopp, if you give Ollie Klopp's team that won the Premier League and Champions League, they don't win the Premier League and Champions League. If we had Liverpool's midfield options, our fan base would kick off. If we had Fabinho, Henderson, Keita, Ox, who else am I missing? Ronaldo, Milner, our fan base would kick off and say it's not good enough. Our fan base would 100% kick off and say it's not good enough. If we got no 10s, we got no creativity.
I take a couple.
Where the goals? No, I'm not saying you would. I'm saying in general, our fan base would kick off though, because they say there's no 10s. Where's the creativity? Where's the passing? All we've got is Fabinho. Ronaldo only pitches in with the odd goal in here and there. Our fan base would kick off. If we had Trent, he can't defend. We need a better defense, but then we have a defensively solid fullback in Wan-Bissaka, or he can't go forward. There's always something. Firmino's a non-goal scoring number 9, or he doesn't score enough goals. You know what I mean? He doesn't get his shots there. He doesn't do the hard yards thing, etc. There's always something. This is what I'm saying, and that Manchester City would be the same. They won the league without a 9. I'm saying, we need a number 9. We don't have a left back. Yes, they have incredible players. Like De Bruyne got injured, though, as we spoke on as well. It's never anything like this guy gets so many excuses under the sun. Like I said, next season we're saying here and trying to draw a line in the sand and say he has to win something. If he doesn't win anything this season, which I don't think, without a favorable draw in the FA Cup or League Cup, there'll be more excuses. There'll be something else, and we could sign.
I think 3 years is more than enough. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been on a roller coaster with Ali, right? I've been on a love hate. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very just desensitized to him now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, same.
I just understand what he is, and some people don't understand. Like some people genuinely don't understand, and like the type of manager he is, and they can't unsee the player. Some people can't some people can't get past the fact that he's pragmatic and it's boring right now, even though there has been some levels of improvement in the squad. But yeah, he's been backed. He's been backed now. If he gets Varane, that means he'll have Varane, Sancho, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Cavani. Who else is in that? Van de Beek, Tellez. I mean, it's pretty much his team now. He's pretty much molded this team into what he wants it to be, outside of the DM that he's looking for, right? So there is no excuses. I want to see more from us. I want to see us be more progressive. I want to see us be on the front foot against the Newcastle. I want us to not be afraid, and be passive on the ball. You can play excited football and play a 4-2-3-1. It's not. Yes. It's never the system. It's never the system. You can play 3 at the back and it's exciting. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever get that twisted. So it's about the manager and how he approaches matches. So that is what I want to see. Do I think I will see it? No, I don't.
Absolutely not. And this is why I'm this like this is why I don't scream Ollie out all across my socials, because I understand. But when I'm on platforms like this and I'm talking about it and it comes up, yes, I'm going to talk about it, because I believe we are being robbed of just better. All I'm asking for at this point is just entertainment. I'm saying I keep saying the same thing. At least try and go for the knockout in games. If you have a better team than the opposition, treat them as such. And we don't. There's no way we should be going 3 games in a row and create 0 big chances. 0 big chances we created. 0. With our quality of our attacking players we have. And now you've added Sancho into the mix of that as well. And you said it there, Tammy, and I've spoken on this about formations, and people automatically associate 4-2-3-1 with being defensive. No, it's all about the personnel. Like I've used this example again. This is another analogy. You can play 4-4-2 and be pragmatic. Burnley play 4-4-2. No one's talking about Burnley playing attractive football, because in the manner in which they play 4-4-2. Stoke under Pulis, the whole cold Tuesday night in Stoke, they played 4-4-2. But the same way you can play a back 3 and play offensive football. It depends on the personnel and how you approach it and how the manager sets you up. And it's times for everything as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that there's times and approaches. If we go away to Anfield and they're flying and we go there and get a 0-0 draw, no one's fair. Used to do that all the time. No complaints. I understand. You know what I mean? If you have a team that's equal to you or better and you're going to their patch or they're in great form and the momentum's with them, no problem with that whatsoever. That's absolutely fine. My problem is when we're playing lesser teams and they're dominating the ball. We're playing Villarreal and they having 50-60% of the. What is it? Why can't we maintain the ball?
Yeah.
Are these players that bad? Because if these players are that bad, it's unacceptable. We need to get a whole new squad then. If we can't maintain the ball
bad, we have finished second. You know what I mean? And that's always been my thing is, yes, these players, they have their off days, they have their bad days. Like they do some stuff that's like, okay, what's going on? I know they're not necessarily good enough, but they still finish second. You know what I mean? Like this same players, when nothing was working, whether it was Bruno, Rashford, Pogba, name it, McTominay, they still delivered. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, yes, the players might not be good enough, but I still feel right now we have a good enough squad to compete. I personally think we do. Like we actually do have enough to compete. It just has to be used the right way, which, like we said, is that going to happen? Maybe Ole has, used this time to reflect, and he watched the England finals and realized no subs doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with like Liverpool. Remember Liverpool? Like how many times did you see Origi coming off the bench, Shaqiri coming off the bench? That famous night in Barcelona whereby, from that corner kick, that goal that happened in the corner kick, wasn't that subs? Those were substitutes.
Yeah, Rigi
Everyone
was a
keeps
sub. Yeah.
acting like, "Oh,
Also,
our bench
yeah.
is not good enough. Our bench is not good enough." But it's like, okay, guys, do you want Neymar on your bench? Do you want Mbappe on your bench before you start using your bench? Like, you know what I'm? Sometimes the reasoning is exhausting.
I said, do you want Neymar and Mbappe on our bench? Facts. That's what we need. And then even then, there'd be excuses. This guy, I guarantee, we're talking about. So connection, my back, yo.
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah.
Yeah, back. My connection went. If that ever happens, because my connection went. What's going to happen is we're talking about this season. If United don't win anything, there'll be a whole bunch of new excuses. Somebody will get injured. Sancho didn't fit. It's his first season back. Bundesliga tax. Varane's overrated. He was carried by Ramos. He was never good enough. Camavinga's young. I'm just using players we've been linked with or whatever DM we get in DD. It's a big step up. Rice was over. There's always something because you can make with football. What I've realized with Oli is you can always make excuses for managers. If you like a manager, there's always an excuse all the time. Yeah. There's always something he didn't have because there is always room to be improved. Again, people, a perfect 11 doesn't exist in real life. On FIFA and Football Manager, yes, my teams are perfect. But that's on FIFA and Football Manager. In real life, them things don't exist. And even on FIFA and Football Manager, that took time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still looking to improve. That took time. You know what I'm saying? That might have took 2 windows. You know what I'm saying? It might have took 3 windows, and I'm still in the transfer window. I'm still sending scouts.
Add me on PSN.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even play it like that anymore. Yeah. I would have. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just using that as an example. Like all the time, like someone mentioned the whole, and we'll go on to this actually. Actually, no, what we're going to first is that we haven't spoke on it. The Sancho deal, like in depth, is looking like Rashford may be out for 12 weeks. But someone asked in the comments and said, what would our front 3/front 4s be? Say Rashford is out. So we'll go to you, tell me, like, how do you look at it? So say, for instance, hypothetically, Rashford's out for the 3 months. How would you set, and everybody else is fit, how would you set up?
So I'm going to assume everyone's fit and still just put it out there, right?
Cool.
Hypothetically, with the squad we currently have and the system I think we're going to play, which is 4-2-3-1, right? I would want my front 3 to be Sancho on the right. That's the obvious one, right?
Yeah.
I would want Martial through the middle. I don't care what anyone says about that. I want Anthony Martial through the middle. I think he is our best number 9, right? On the left, I would want Paul Pogba. And let me explain that, right? I think that with the team we currently have, we don't have a DM, right? We don't have a DM that's going to play week in and week out. I expect Ollie to still play his 4-2-3-1, right? I expect Bruno to still be in that number 10 position, right? So these are things that aren't going away, right? Paul Pogba, we want him to be free, right? That's the buzzword, right? We want him to play a free role, a freer role than what he currently does. If he's playing in a 4-2-3-1 system, he will be tasked to be more defensively aware, right? If he's on the left, though, it gives him the opportunity to be one higher up the pitch. He's getting the ball in spaces that he likes. Paul Pogba has already said himself multiple times, I think I'm the best when I'm a little bit further on the left. He said that in interviews. So I think that a front 3 of Sancho, Martial, and Pogba has the ball retention, it has the power, it has the skill. It literally has everything you want. It has the directness. It has an inverted winger in Paul Pogba who can come inside centrally, do what he wants to do. It has the playmaking ability of a Jadon Sancho who can, we know what he can do on the ball. He's an excellent dribbler. He can get on the outside and put in crosses. He's a goal threat. One of the most consistent goal threats there has been in the Bundesliga and assist makers over the past 3 seasons. And then Anthony Martial, when he is on his game, he can hold up the ball better than anybody on our side. He can get out of tight spaces. When he wants to be a good finisher, he is. You know what I'm saying? I think Anthony Martial is our best when he's on his game. So I think that front 3 would absolutely wreak havoc on defenses throughout the country. I just don't think it'd be.
You've made me change mine 3. Like you sold me on that so well that you made me change my 3 that I was going to. Like, I thought my 3 was the bomb, and then man heard yours, and I was like, nah, that's a better front 3, 100%. Jay, same to you. We got so many options. Sorry to cut you off before. That's what's crazy is that we got so many options. Like I don't think there's a wrong answer. Unless you're putting Dan James in your front 3, there's not really a wrong answer to me. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not really a wrong answer unless you're putting Dan James in there. But go on, Jay.
No, Tammy, like you've hit that well. Like I'm still a big fan of Martial. I feel like when you watch Bruno play, I think Bruno plays his best game when Martial is on because of that link up play. Cavani, we don't see it so much with Cavani just because Cavani is not the greatest, at holding on to the ball. A lot of times he likes to, just pass it on or, and be in the box, which is great. It's nice to have that. But if we're going to be playing, I think Cavani would be nice to be the number 9 if we're playing in 4-3-3. But if we're playing a 4-3-2-1, kind of like what Tammy mentioned, then I would want to see Martial as the lone striker up there because, like we said, his link-up plays better. Pogba, I guess Pogba, we can kind of have him on that wing on the left side and with Sancho on the other side. My only issue is still with the Bruno sitting there as a number 10. That's my only issue is if there was a way that we could maybe switch Pogba and Bruno. I know most people might say, what the hell? Bruno on the left, I think might be better off on the left because he's still going to be doing his thing, moving around, doing his 1-2s, but at least on the left side, he's less of a liability in the middle. And then I know Pogba is not a number 10, he's not, but I think Pogba plays that role better than Bruno does at the end of the day. I think he does play that role. So it would be, it's a tough one. I would say Martial up top. We already know Sancho is going to play, Pogba is going to play, Bruno is going to play. So if we're doing the 4-3-2-1, I would like Martial up top. If we're doing the 4-3-3, then I would probably put Martial to the wing and bring in Cavani as the number 10. As a number 9.
Okay, so I get you. So you'd have the second option that you just mentioned. You'd have Cavani, you'd have Martial, and then who would be your right-sided player? Martial from the left. Who would be your right side?
Sancho. I would know people are saying that he's better on the left-hand side. I don't really know, but
from what I've seen,
they can always interchange, right? Like
that's true.
They can always interchange as the game goes on.
That's true. 100%. Like initially, like before, obviously we got both of your front threes, and obviously we know with the 4-2-3-1, I was thinking Martial in the 9. I agree with what Temi said. Like I'm a big fan. It is last chance saloon for him, but I'm a big fan of him. He stays number 9. Whether we play 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, a back 3, whatever system we're playing, Martial is my 9, and that's not a shot at Cavani, but I like Cavani coming off the bench, specifically when we're chasing games or if we're playing against the low block and we're dominating the ball. I'm all for Cavani. Like I'm a fan of Cavani as well, but Martial through the middle, I would have said initially I would have Martial through the middle. I would have played Sancho from the left and Greenwood from the right. But then when Temi mentioned Pogba, I like the idea of Pogba from the left because I like Pogba on the left, people, simply because I want him higher up the pitch. If you ask opposition, if that's what I'm saying, if you ask opposition where they want Pogba, yes, he plays well next to Kante. Pogba's that talented that he's capable of playing well as a 6 or an 8. But I want him higher up the pitch. If I'm opposition fan, I want Pogba picking up the ball off the centre backs in his own half. You know what I'm saying? On the centre circle. You don't want him in that area because we've seen what happened at the back end of last season when he played from that left-hand side because he offers you something different. And this is why I wanted Sancho to come in because Sancho is a creative winger. There's a Rashford and Greenwood playing out wide are different to Pogba and Sancho playing out wide. And that's not a shot at Greenwood or Rashford because I rate them both. But them two want to get the ball, cut in and shoot. Whereas Pogba and Sancho want to cut in and be creative. And play 1-2s and get give and goals and stuff like that. And that's what you need is difference. Because sometimes you might just be looking at goal, all right, let me put Rashford on. I know he's going to cut in and shoot or Greenwood. But then there'll be other times you're playing against a low block and you need some creativity. But the idea of a Pogba, Martial, Sancho front 3 is frightening to me. Or even, I know it won't happen, even Pogba in that 10, and then you've got Sancho from the left, Greenwood from the right, or Rashford from the right with Martial up top. It's scary. Like that is extremely scary. That it's a scary thought. Do I think we'll see? I'm just looking forward to see what he does because we don't know what is going on with people in the comments with Rashford. I don't know. I heard that he was gonna have the surgery and be out for 3 months. Now,
and then
he's 50-50.
Yeah.
Just take the surgery, man.
I hope he does. I hope he gets that surgery because he's been nursing so many injuries over the past year and a half. It feels like so. I really hope he does. I'm saying this with all due respect. I don't think we need him. In a respectful way. If we
elaborate on that.
If we have Paul Pogba there playing on Paul Pogba is a better left winger than Marcus Rashford. I'm letting you guys know that right now. It's just He just is. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts about it. He's just a better left winger than Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford coming off the bench for us would be one of the most frightening things that any defender in the league could see. Marcus Rashford coming in the 70th minute, 75th minute, 70th minute against tired legs would literally be, I don't even have the words for it. It would be terrifying. But I do think Marcus Rashford is extremely limited. I think that because he scores so many goals, we kind of ignore a lot of the frailties. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Paul Pogba starting higher up the pitch, having players with in and around him you can retain the ball. Martial playing at number 9, dropping deep to collect the ball, give it to Pogba, give it to a Sancho, and then relocate. I think that would be our best front three. I think Ollie likes Paul Pogba on the left. That's one thing that he figured out at the end of the year. He's like, oh shit, when I put him higher up the pitch, things happen. The best example is second leg against AC Milan, second half, Paul Pogba comes on, absolutely runs the show and gets us to the next round, all pretty much by himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I think even when everybody is healthy, I think that should be our front three. That would be mine with this team that we currently have. If we have a DM, yeah, cool. Let's let Pogba play next to him, give us more ball retention deeper. It probably helps us progress the ball further. If it was a Fred and McTominay, obviously. But as our team is currently constructed, Paul Pogba on the left is the most dangerous.
Yeah,
I agree. I think you're right. I don't think Rashford should start.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I don't think.
I think Sancho's a better right winger and Pogba's a better left winger.
100%.
So where do you play?
He doesn't.
Unless you're going to play Pogba as 2-8, unless it's 4-3-3 and you're going to play Pogba as one of the 8s, then that changes it. But we know Ollie's not going to do that. But if we get this new Ollie, you know what I'm saying? He's going to come out a new man and play this attacking, attractive football, and we play a DM with Pogba and Bruno as the 2-8s, and then you got Rashford and Sancho with Martial. That could work. That's what we should do. See that he's even limiting what we can do now, because we should be playing 4-3-3 to me. We shouldn't be playing 2 DMs. So unless you're playing against stronger teams.
Start Matic. You would start Matic.
Yeah, I'd shift it. I would start Matic. I'd shift it along. Yes, depending on who we're playing.
I would too.
I go Matic some games and I go Fred some games, depending on who we're playing. And again, if we're going away to the Etihad, then I might play a 4-2-3-1. I'd probably go a little bit safer. But if we're playing Crystal Palace at home, why can't we play 4-3-3? You know what I'm saying? If Crystal Palace are peppering us, that's on us. Something's gone wrong outside of Fred. Like, the whole team need to be held accountable and the manager for that, because that shouldn't be happening. That is solely on that. But like I said, this DM is such a talking point for Manchester United because we highlight it so much. Because do we lack quality there? Everyone knows we need a DM. I don't think that is a dispute. But you still utilize what you have. Matic is not the worst of the worst as a DM. Is he what we need? No. Same way with Fred. We know we need an improvement, but utilize what you have. I go back to Liverpool. They have a non-goal scorer number 9. They utilize what they have to the fullest. That's what I would say. But before we close out, we'll finish on the DM. We'll go to you, Jay Social. So the DM, obviously we've been linked with a lot of different DMs, but who would be your preference? Like, what is the style you prefer? Do you prefer a more destructive DM? Are you looking at a more deep line playmaker? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like the way we play, we need a more destructive DM just because of ball retention in the middle of the park. If we were a team that actually had ball possession or retention, then at that point I would say we need just a DM that can just sit and just ensure that the back is protected. But in terms of who I would like, I honestly don't really have a preference of DMs, to be honest. I know everyone has said Ndidi as one of the options. That's one, I don't know. That's one side of the field that I just don't really have any. I don't really have any players that I can say from the top of my head that would do well there. But if we're going to talk about Premier League proven, then I would say Ndidi is probably my number one pick, and he's Nigerian too, so it only helps as well.
I'm a big fan of Ndidi. Yeah, massive fan.
Yeah, I just feel Nigerian players don't get the praise, that other players do get. So,
that same to you, Temi. Your thought, obviously we've linked. Well, we've not been linked, but people have mentioned a lot of different DMs. So, what the names that stick out to you, and what is your preference? Like I said, the more destructive DM, or do you prefer a more deep line playmaker?
That's a great question.
Sorry, guys.
Go ahead.
I saw in a comment there. I would have definitely taken Joshua Kimmich, but we know that's extremely unrealistic.
Kimmich is different level.
Yeah, it's just
he is Lam reincarnated. You know what I'm saying? Like my boy JV said in it. If you ever seen Scooby Doo and they just zip out and another person walks out, that's Lam and Kimmich. Them man is mad. Them man are the same stature, play very similar, same positions, both qualities crazy. But yeah, go on.
Sorry, Tammy. I just had to add that.
No, that's all good. I think for my like what I prefer when I watch football in that DM role, I prefer to see, I prefer to see a more destructive DM unless their name is Sergio Busquets, right? That's like he's like obviously I think Sergio Busquets is like the pinnacle. But then outside of that, I want to see a Makalele. I want to see a Conte. I want to see a Davids. I want to see something like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So Wilfred Ndidi obviously would be my number one, my Nigerian brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think it would lend us really well to have a player like Wilfred because, one, he's athletic enough to cover all areas of the pitch. He would allow us to have maybe Bruno play. You could play Pogba next to him, right? And it would be just fine because Pogba has the ball retention. Wilfred is actually very good on the ball too. Like he's very good on the ball. I remember. Do you guys remember that? That City game where Company scores that all important goal?
The banger from like 25 yards. Yeah.
I do remember the goal.
You remember that? Yeah, but that game, I will never forget that game. Wilfred Ndidi was the best player on the pitch. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was the best player on the pitch. I remember Graham Lasso, who calls games in America, I was like, is Patrick Vieira on the pitch? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, what this kid, and this was 2 years ago, and he's only gotten better. It's never going to happen. He would be. I mean, if we gave Leicester 80 million for Harry Maguire, and Wilfred Ndidi's twice the player. So it's like, what would it? It would be minimum starting point 75. You know what I mean? So it's never going to happen. But other players I like who can play in that, in the double pivot or play in that 4-3-3 role. Ruben Neves, I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Declan Rice. I know England fans, you guys are that midfield two you guys had was annoying you, but I like both of them. I like Calvin Phillips. I like Declan Rice. I think that both of them would make us a better team.
They would, but I'm not. Yeah, I have to disagree with the Rice and the Phillips one.
No, I know.
They make us a better team.
I know. England fans aren't a big fan of Rice and Phillips, but they're
Rice I think Phillips would just basically be like having another Fred. I just feel like Fred can do the job. I don't know.
No, I think he's better.
Rice is an improvement.
If we go for DM, we have to go for like well-proven like elite DM. I think if we're gonna go that route for a DM,
I think Declan Rice could fill that role just fine. He would play like the Matic role, right? That Matic did for so long at Chelsea, and then even for us. Who else? Basuma. He's not really a DM, but he can play in that 4-2-3-1. We just need better. Honestly, we just need better midfielders. Let's just say that. We just need better midfield, like actual proper midfield players. We have the flair midfield players. We have Pogba. We have Bruno. We have Van de Beek. That's 3 flair midfield players that most teams across the country would take. The issue is we don't have the dogs. We don't have the dogs that have the ball, that have that on the ball ability. You know what I'm saying? So Wilfred Ndidi is a dog, right? But he has the ability on the ball to play at the highest level, right? McTominay's a dog, Fred's a dog, but do they have that on the ball ability? That consistent, I'm gonna make this pass, it's gonna get there. I'm not gonna my first touch isn't gonna be loose. You know what I'm saying? My second touch isn't gonna be a foul. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff's important. That stuff is really, really important. And we don't have that right now. I think we need 2 of those players, if I'm being honest. But no, my number 1 will be Wilfred. To answer that, that was a long-winded way to say Wilfred Ndidi.
No. You both said Wilfred Ndidi. That's my first choice pick. We go get him, play the money. And someone said about his injury record. I just checked his appearances. He played 26 games this past season. This is Premier League. He played 32, 38, and 33, and then 17 in his third season. So if his injury record's that bad, he's playing consistently more often than not over 30 games in a season. So
and if you rotated the squad, then like we're not. there's going to be games that he's fine not to play. You know what I'm saying? So it does make sense. It does make sense. But I feel like if we're going to get a DM, we've got to get a proper DM. We can't be doing this.
None of these Rice stuff. You got Rice at home, man. And
makeshift DMs.
Don't get it in it. These makeshift
Rice will be good. Rice will be
an improvement on what we have. But when I compare Rice to an Ndidi or a Basuma, I'm like, you probably cost more than these, man. And I don't think you're better than Ndidi, and I rate Basuma higher. Or if we just go get another DM.
If we're talking baseline prices, of course. I'm just talking about at a ground level. Does this person help us inch closer to our goal?
100% he does, and that's how I feel about that DM role.
I wouldn't be price thing. Then it's a different story.
I wouldn't be mad at Ndidi. At Rice. If we did sign him, I'd just be like, he's not my first choice, but I like the fact we're trying to improve the area, and he's an improvement on the area, and that's all I can ask. Even if it's not my first choice, and I feel that way about the manager. Like people say, "Oh, who would you take?" At this point, I'd do a Spurs and take my 7th, 8th choice. Yeah, because I'm just looking for us to improve in that area. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, that's what it is. Yeah, man, it was like that 8th. Was he 12th, 14th? I don't know. I know Nuno wasn't on the top 5.
Nuno's a good manager.
He is. I agree. I'm not even speaking. I'm just talking about Spurs' approach to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Literally, that's what it is. But I thoroughly enjoyed the show. Love to everyone who's locked in. Please make sure whether you're watching this live or watching this back, you hit the like button on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We've had well over 50 people watching. This has been great. You hear me? International ManDem United podcast. That's what I should have titled it. I might title it next. We'll go to you first, Jay. Bless for coming on. Anything you want to add, and let the people know where they can find you as well.
Yeah, man. I think obviously we've got to be optimistic about the season. Like I said, I'm just going in, no agendas. That might be out the window by the first game. I don't promise. No promises. But I'm just going in with a clear mind. You know what? Ole, you've got to think on both positive and negatives. Yes, can Ole be frustrating? Yes, he can be. But he's also done some good for the club. So let's back him. And if the season goes well, it goes well. If it goes sideways, I'll be back on here with my criticism of Ole. But so far, I'm excited to see the season start. The Euros was amazing, but now, club football is always real. That's the football that we want to see. Other than that, my channel is J Socials YouTube.
J Socials. I was telling people go subscribe to his channel, J Socials. People tag that, and you can tag it underneath in this video as well. But yes, J Socials, go subscribe to the channel, people.
Yes, I appreciate it. Tomorrow we're doing a show, UK time, 8:30. We're gonna be talking La Liga transfers, Barcelona, and stuff like that. So, other than that, Flawless. Once again, congrats on 3,000 subscribers, and hopefully we'll be having many more celebrations.
Yeah, man, 100%. We're going to keep this rolling, man. We all going to win. But I love for that. I appreciate it. Same to you, Temmie. Anything you want to add and let the people know where they can find you, etc.
Yeah, I just saw a funny comment.
What was it? Go on. What was the comment going? What was the comment?
Oh, rice is soggy, Temmie.
Wow.
These lot don't care for rice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that is so funny. But yeah, no, I appreciate y'all for watching the show. Make sure to subscribe to my boy Flawless podcast. Get him to 4K quick, fast, in a hurry. You know what I'm saying? But follow me on Twitter at Temmie Talks United. That's where I, spend the majority of my time, just talking football. Subscribe to my YouTube channel that has been on hiatus for forever. But the way
get that back off hiatus, man.
I know. People, I've had so many DMs of people telling me like, "Where's your content?" I'm like, my bad. I gotta get that back. But anyway. The Wavy Baller Hub. So if you guys haven't heard of it, just go and search the Wavy Baller Hub. Subscribe to me. You know what I'm saying? Show some love. And the season's about to start. So hopefully I will be, I'm trying to get the artistic side of the, the artistic side of the YouTube up and looking nice. But Temmie Talks United on Twitter, and the Wavy Baller Hub on our YouTube. Show some love, people.
There you go, people. And you can find, if you're following me on Twitter and Instagram, That's Me Flawless, you'll find both Jay and Temmie's @. So make sure you follow them across their socials and subscribe to their channel. As you can see here, their knowledge is great in it. That's why we only bring the guests, you know what I'm saying? And definitely going to bring you two, man, back. Definitely on the ManDem United podcast. Love to everyone who has tuned in. I hope you lot have enjoyed the show. Johan's talking about being late. Johan is cool, man. Don't worry about it, man. You can catch the show back. You know what I'm saying? Do not worry about it. Also, this show and all the other shows on the channel, aside from the watch-alongs, are available as audio-only platforms. So if you want to listen on SoundCloud, Spotify, or iTunes, links is underneath in the description. Wherever you listen to podcasts, type in Sarcasm City TV, and the ManDem United podcast and all the other shows will pop up. So you might want to listen while you're cooking, driving, at work, etc., etc. Let me just get to a couple. Jeremy here says, Flawless, how do I get involved with the Sarcasm City channel, G? So on Twitch, because we have a whole schedule on there. The fan calling shows is a way to get involved. Also the membership as well. Jay is actually one of the members of the channel. So links for that is underneath in the description. So the fan calling shows that happen on Twitch only, and also membership. That's how you get involved as well in it. You know what I'm saying? They're the two ways, best ways to get, like, both of these man did work. That's why they're here. And like Jay, not only was he a member, he's doing his own thing. Temi was doing his own thing. That's why I bring people on. Like, if I see you doing your thing and you're good, I'm like, all right, come, we got to talk. That's why they're here. Simple as that. None of these mans ask me. I ask them both. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're good at what they do. Simple as that. That's the way to get on. JB also says, congrats on getting to 3K Flawless. Big up, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, Jeremy, no worries in that. And we are going to we're going live in a couple of minutes. So we got the England versus Pakistan T20 watch along will be going on, but that's on Twitch only. So we got England versus Pakistan T20 game 3 of 3. That'll be on the Twitch only. Then following that, we'll have the Costa Rica versus Jamaica Gold Cup watch along. That will be on Twitch only. And then later on tonight after that, 2 a.m. start, game 6, NBA Finals, Bucks versus Suns. Bucks trying to win the chip. Suns trying to take it to a game 7 in it. So make sure you tune into that, people. Check out the upcoming live stream section on the YouTube. Check out the upcoming live stream on the Twitch as well. But like I said, get tuned in 6:25, so 15 minutes from now on the Twitch only, Sarcasm City TV. Link is also underneath in the description. First cricket watch along on the channel, people. First cricket watch along on the channel. But yo, love to everyone who's locked in. Thoroughly enjoyed this show. Man has thoroughly enjoyed this. And this has been the ManDem United podcast on Sarcasm City TV. Thank you very much for tuning in.